My name is Cassandra Kirk. I am class of 1989. That's almost hard to stomach. And we are in Atlanta, Georgia. We are actually in Zunilike Park, which is in the Briarcliff area of Atlanta, DeKalb County. So in the past year and a half, what I have done is keep learning, right? That's one of the things we learned about Williams. And so I have taught 2 classes over the past year. I am now preparing to teach a small class on Saturday, actually this Saturday, about contract law with one of our judges. And so I think, to me, obviously I have done lots of community work, but just continuing to keep myself up and thinking about what's going on.
Oh my goodness, so the journey continues with learning and teaching and passing it on that way. How big are your courses? What is the cohort of people you teach?
So I have taught a MBA course that had about 20-something people in it. Then I've taught a much smaller, less than 10 people, criminal justice course. My course on Saturday is a community course. The first half of the course is someone else is teaching about how to start a business, how to incorporate your business, and then I and my judge are going to be teaching about the what happens now that you've done that and how to protect yourself with your contract. So,
how has this moment in history impacted that? Have you had to shift how you teach, and so what kind of creative ways have you found to keep people engaged?
So I am loving this, right? I am an introvert at heart, and I am absolutely loving this. We are on Zoom, but our court is on Zoom. My life is on Zoom. It seems like all the organizations I meet with, talk with, everybody is on Zoom, and so I'm doing a lot of Zoom. And in terms of teaching, just being on Zoom, it's hard to figure, I guess the college platforms have us on something else, but it's Zoom-like, and you just have to check for people and figure out who's in class, and it's almost it can be a little exhausting trying to figure out, is your hand up, or why is the little yellow light on? Are you speaking? And what am I missing? But it's working well. So I am Chief Magistrate Judge for Fulton County, and I think I shape who that position is. So I have been a judge for about 10 years. I started out as a juvenile court judge, but I have done a lot of different things in the system. Part of what I realized, even as a juvenile court judge, is we had a lot of people coming into our system that had no clue. People were I'm in court because I was told to be here. I don't know what's going to be here. And people were just distrustful of the process. One of the things that I have been very, very adamant about is making sure that our process is clear, that we are transparent. So I say, and our court has developed this, we are a court that informs, engages, and empowers our community. That is who we are. And so from the moment we do our first training with our judges to the moment with our JAs, with our whomever it is that we are onboarding, that is the level of customer service that we bring to our court and then to the people that we serve. And so for us, what does that look like? I am the first Chief Magistrate Judge here in Fulton County in its new form. So I had the joy of being able to create what this court looks like. And for me, our court, I believe, is a model for how courts should treat their citizens. And so not just our self-represented litigants, but let's make the information accessible. We have videos on our website. We have pamphlets so that people can actually learn and figure out what's going on. And then I have this wonderful chat bot, which a friend of mine through TextGov said, here's something that might help you. We've stuck that on the website, and now we don't have to necessarily put so much customer service into speaking to people on the phone. Direct them to the website. The chatbot helps walk them through that. Obviously, we still want to do customer service. But for me, being in a court that really makes the information available, so it all starts with accessibility, that has been, I think, the biggest thing. And then the other thing about our court is I want us to be in the community. So a lot of the things that our court does are included in the community, whether that's legal service clinics at the Hosea Feed the Help, whether that is we've had COVID vaccines, we've had COVID testing, we have done community work during just volunteering with organizations that are doing toy give backs. We are a part of the community. We don't just want to sit and judge the people. And every one of the judges that I have the pleasure of selecting has some sort of involvement on the community before they come to our bench. So it is a change in how I think courts see the people that come before us. And so I'd really like for us, and we're on social media, we really reach out to our communities, going to town hall meetings, going to NPU meetings, those are neighborhood planning units. We really are, if someone says, how do you do something, we're going to try to figure out a way that we can help them get it done. So.
That is it sounds radical in its own way. I hate to use the word radical, but what it should be in some ways. And I'm just fascinated in that you are helping to create a model in some ways for others. This can be obviously an easy task in many ways. Tell me a little bit about what were some of those sparks, or if there's one spark that led you into this kind of work that you care to share. This is a little bit outside of the questions I gave you, but I'm curious if there's something. What was the driving force that got you into this kind of passion and focus?
So my personal experience, I have obviously had some less than joyous conflicts or contacts with the court. And so that has been as a victim, it has been as a litigant, and has been as just a simple plaintiff. So having my experiences with the court and knowing that when I come in, even if I came in to probate my dad's will, for instance, had I not known that judge, you hate to have like connections, but had I not known that judge and that judge been able to direct me how to get this done, that would have been a loss for me. And so just coming into courts each time, understanding how impactful it is for people's lives and how scared people are, because this is what we do every day. We have 50 million adjectives or adverbs or acronyms or whatever it is, and they don't mean anything to the people that we are talking at them about. Making that and breaking that down has been a very big experience for me. But also, my parents are from Mississippi, and so the law has not always been something that has been something to trust or something where you can get justice. And so making sure that people can empower themselves has been very important for me. I want to make sure that that's what we do.
How does this moment in time, obviously you've been doing this for some time, so it's nothing new, but how does this moment in time that we're going through as a society impact that work, whether it's obviously with the pandemic, but also the social justice movements we've seen over the past year and a half?
Right. It has made it even more important that accessibility is the key. And so what we saw during the pandemic, we had our first phase, we had a statewide judicial emergency. So from March until July, pretty much all courts stopped moving. We continued doing electronic warrants 24/7. We continued handling first appearance hearings 6 days a week. But what we were not doing was our landlord-tenant cases. And so I made the decision as the court administrator, as the chief judge of our court, that we would not be handling those cases. That meant that the public was not happy because there were tenants that were not paying and landlords wanted people out. And it was not the court's job to displace people at a time where there was a pandemic. And so I made the decision that we were not going to do it. Several of our other chief magistrates across the state did not make that decision, and so they were displacing people during the pandemic and during the statewide judicial emergency. But I saw it as an opportunity that our community needed. And so as we opened up from that piece, what we did was actually bring in nonprofits to help pay rent. So there were nonprofits that had lined up that said, look, we're willing to help. And it's really interesting that it took this pandemic to finally see this population of people. Our court handles about 45,000 landlord-tenant cases a year. Like, that's what the filings we get in. And last year we only handled about 22,900. And so at the time, at our lowest rate of handling these cases, I am thankful that the nonprofits stepped up, but I'm almost like, we've been doing this. This is the way this law is written. So my local community is, obviously I have my neighbors, my homeowners association, and then I move out from there into my city. I'm in the city of Atlanta, and then there's the county, Fulton County. But more importantly, I am part of the Magistrate Council, which is a statewide council. I am also a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority, which is an international organization. And so engaging with each of those is personal for me. So even right now I'm on our AKA's connection committee. I'm the representative for NPHC, which is our National Pan-Hellenic Council, so our Divine Nine Council. And what we are doing is setting up forums. We have, mayor races in several of our cities. We have city council races, and I'm a part of the group that is setting up forums so the community can come hear from these people that are running for office. I have been with the League of Women Voters, where we have worked on voter issues. We have worked on enrolling voters. And so it is, for me, just making sure that people have the information.
Is there a specific memory or moment that stands out to you that has moved you in that work, has impacted you in any specific way? So I know sometimes in interacting with the community you can encounter that as well.
So I think, I think all of it. Like I would say all of it. One of the things I was going to say is one of the things we realized in moving our court onto Zoom was that there were many people that didn't have just the technology, didn't have the bandwidth on their phones to do any of the things that we needed them to be able to do in order to have court remotely. And so as we began to open up court so that we could have hybrid hearings, some people in, some people out, some people remote and some people on Zoom, it was clear that people that were coming into the court needed more assistance. And we have a housing court assistance program that is set up to help people in that area. One of the things that I want to create and that I've been creating for like a year and a half, slowed down by the pandemic, is a consumer clinic. So that would be pro bono legal services for those people and really navigation services for those people who are on our other calendars, our small claims calendar, our garnishment calendar, even our warrant application calendar. So for me, it is very much an information, like not an information dump, but people have questions and we can't give legal advice. The only thing I can do is set it up so that it works, or try to set it up so that it works better. I know just being at Williams among those incredibly brilliant people was very relaxing. It was, it was a high level of interaction in class, out of class, no matter what it was we were doing, but there was also a community feel. And even when we disagreed, there was still a community feel, like no one ever wanted to hurt someone. And so it was, I think, understanding that at our basis, that people truly, truly love and care for each other. And seeing that for me in the North made a difference. I'm from the South, and so I'm used to community. I'm used to community in a certain way, and I'm used to the way we speak to each other in civil settings. Williams wasn't always that civil, but at the end of the day, we were all Williams students, right? We were all Williams against the world. And so that was somewhat comforting. I think the other thing I learned is just the power of giving people space to be able to fit in. Like, people want to help, and just giving them that opportunity is one of the things I saw at Williams, because we got to do so many different things. They opened up a lot of doors for us. What brings me joy? So right now, I hate to say it, but I am loving the peace that the pandemic gives me, because I am a doer. I have been scheduled since I was 3.5, right? So from Montessori school on, I have been scheduled. The pandemic has given me personal space to be able to say, no, I can't come, no, I can't do that. In terms of a lot of the social things that you have to do, that you are encouraged to do if you are running for election. And because I run for election, I am aware that the community expects to see me and be in interaction with me. But it's also like the legal community makes those expectations. And so the pandemic has given me an opportunity to kind of push back and reevaluate and figure out what's important, figure out what I absolutely have to do, as opposed to what I feel obligated to do. And so when I saw that question, I was thinking, do I get to just write one? Like, I'm a Southerner, I need to write lots of thank you notes. So my first thank you would obviously be to my parents, for raising us the way they did, for sheltering us the way they did. Because had they not sheltered us the way they did, when I went to these various different schools or these various different places, I would have been unprepared for what that pushback looked like from society. So my first thank you note is always to them. My next thank you note is to my extended family, but also to my friends, my family, to those people that supported me before my election, supported me during my election, and will support me after. That's been huge, and our Williams community has really stepped up in terms of just opening doors for other relationships with different people. I reached out to a person in my class and then a person 2 classes below me, and I just said, hey, I'm in this industry, I see that you're in this industry, can you help me with some introductions? There was not a whole lot of why would I do this, it was simply absolutely. They opened up their Rolodex and made the phone calls. And so I have appreciated that about Williams. That's probably one of the things I should have said. Coming back to our reunions, what I realized is there were a lot of really neat people that I had not taken the time to meet while I was there. And I regretted that, because that was time we've lost. But as we have grown as adults, I think it's probably better that we met as adults, because we were each able to handle I think we're each able to handle situations better. But yes, so those would be my thank you notes. Yes.
It's fascinating how you keep extending your cohort of friends even at reunions or informal gatherings, and you
Right.
encounter new conversations and people you didn't know about when you were 18,
Right.
20 years old.
Right.
As we wrap up, first of all, I want to say thank you to you for sharing your voice in this space. Are there any final words of advice you would share with someone, especially when we think about young alum or student looking as they start their journey, and anything you would say to yourself as a young person back
Right,
then?
absolutely, absolutely. Use those connections. I mean, we are all in this school. There's only 500 students a class. I would say just take a moment of time to meet everybody. I did Leadership Atlanta recently, not recently. I did it in 2016 possibly. And one of my classmates, I think there were about 100 of us. One of our classmates said, "I am going to lunch or dinner with every person in this class." I was like, "Good for you." But she did it, and so as a result of that, thankfully she was one of my friends. I got to meet some new connections. But I would say to everyone, take the opportunities that are presented, and simply because they are not your, not your people, go ahead and expand that, because you never know. Having that Williams-like label on you really opens a lot of doors and is a connection that you can build, and I would encourage you to build. So that is it. So, and my advice for myself would be the same, but it would also be, remember that you are smart, that you can be kind and compassionate, but be fierce and courageous. What's it going to matter?